It always comes out, basically always, that the Parshas of Bais Medrash, Terumah, Tesava, V'Yakov Pekudei is around Purim time. So it would be very good if we could combine the themes of Purim together with being Bais Medrash. And there's one Gemara that Mamish makes a link from the Mishkan and the Bais Medrash to Amalek, like a direct connection. And the shaila is what's shot in the connection. It says like this: the Gemara inside Hebron says, "Shalosh mitzvos nitzavu Yisrael b'chnisasem Eretz Yisrael." Klal Yisrael had three mitzvahs when they entered Eretz Yisrael. First one, Lahaman Melech, to establish a king. The second one was Limchas Amalek, to destroy Amalek, and the third thing was to build the Bais Hamikdash. And then he's supposed to build the Bais Hamikdash. So the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that those three mitzvahs, making a king, destroying Amalek, and the Bais Hamikdash, the Seder is Ma'akiv. That means first you have to have a Melech, and then you have to destroy Amalek, and then you have to build the Bais Hamikdash. Another way to formulate this would be that, and here I think is a very important point, and it addresses another point, and that is like this. If I would ask you, what's the chiluk between the Bais Hamikdash and the Mishkan? What's the chiluk? Bais Hamikdash was fancier, it was bigger, it was more elaborate, and the Mishkan was smaller and more portable. That's the whole chiluk. What's the chiluk hayusodi between the Bais Hamikdash and the Mishkan? So this Gemara tells you there's a Yisayis to get chiluk. The chiluk is that as long as Amalek is around, you can't have a Bais Hamikdash. You can have a Mishkan, you can't have a Bais Hamikdash. Unless there's a Seder Ma'akev. That means you have to make a Melech. That Melech has to destroy Amalek, and then you can build a Bais Hamikdash. That means a Mishkan can coexist with Amalek, and a Bais Hamikdash cannot coexist with Amalek. That's a very Yisayis to get chiluk between the Bais Hamikdash and the Mishkan. The shaila is why? Why is it that if Amalek is around, you could have a Mishkan, but not a Bais Hamikdash? But once Amalek is gone, you can have a Bais Hamikdash. Why is Amalek share the existence of a Bais Hamikdash? So you could say it one of two ways. One way you could say it is a peep shot, maybe more simple shot is that it says Vavosim al Kochi, Visimachtu Beis Tilosi, or the same with Chem Mizlo, Kibesi Beis Tfilo Yikar Chol Amim, right? He's talking about the Bais Hamikdash. I'm talking about the Rabbi. The Bais Hamikdash is a Bais Hamikdash l'chol ha'amim. And when Shlomo Melech, you look at the psukim there, when he inaugurates the Bais Hamikdash, he gives a whole speech about Goyim coming, and they're going to bring karbanos, and we're going to accept the karbanos, and do a Shan Nikanor that they took from the Goyim. It was a Bais Hamikdash, it was a Bais Tefillah Yikarei L'chol Ha'amim. Not only for Yidden, even for Goyim. The Bais Hamikdash had to be recognized as being a Bais Hamikdash L'chol Ha'amim. If I say right, then if you have Reishis Goyim Amalek, if you have an Amalek in the world, then you can't have a Bais Hamikdash, because the Bais Hamikdash has to be something that's recognized by the nations. And Reishis Goyim Amalek, the highest, the most terrible, well, maybe is Amalek. So if I say that there's an Amalek in the world, then you can't have a Bais Hamikdash. Now, 1 second. So at this point, you'll ask me, but we never quite got rid of Amalek. So how could we ever have gotten Bais Hamikdash? The Torah says that the fact is that we never really got the full-fledged Bais Hamikdash because we never fully got rid of Amalek. We got rid of Amalek as a nation, right? But as scattered people, they still exist. So if it's right that we got rid of them as a nation, we were able to have a Bais Hamikdash. But the Bais Hamikdash would have got destroyed because we didn't quite get rid of Amalek. We got rid of, as a nation, as an identifiable nation. There's no identifiable nation called Amalek anymore. That would be one way of understanding. One way of understanding is again that the Mishkan, it talks about the relationship between Klal Yisrael and Hashem, and if there's an Amalek there, who cares? But we could still have a Shaykhis, we could have a Mishkan. But we can't have a Bais Hamikdash, because the Bais Hamikdash requires Bais Tefillah Kol Ha'amim. That's one approach. Now I want to say a more Kabbalistic approach, more speculative, but maybe something there. And that's like this. There's a Rashi in Sukkah, And Rashi in Sukkah is, I think, the only Kabbalistic Rashi in Shas. As far as I know. Rashi says like this. It's Rashi in Mem Ches, I think it is. He says that when we say on Sukkot, we say Ani v'hoy Hashiana, right? Ani v'hoy Hashiana comes from, he says like this. What it was mean? So first of all, he says it's the gematria of Ana Hashem is the same. Ani v'hoy Hashiana is the same gematria. Ani v'hoy Hashiana, the same thing as Ana Hashem Hashiana. Then he says there are 3 pesukim in B'Shalach. It's a Rashi Gemara. You can look it up. There's 3 pesukim in B'Shalach, each of which has 72 letters. If you take the first letter of the first pasuk and the last letter of the second pasuk and the first letter of the third pasuk, the 3 pesukim in B'Shalach before Kriyas Yamsuf, whatever. And he tells you what pesukim are. Each one 72 letters. And if you take one, the first one, the last one, and the first one, you get one Shem Hashem. The second to the first. The second to the last, the penultimate, and the second to the first, you'll get the second Shem Hashem, and you do like that 72 times, and you get 72 Shemus of Hashem, each one of 3 letters. Referish Gemara, Referish Rashi. Rashi says that the first of these 72 is V'hai, and the 37th is Ani. So when you say Ani v'hoy Hashiana, you're saying Ani. That's what Rashi said. Yeah. Okay. Now, Tosfos over there says, well, there's 72 other shemus of Hashem. Like, why are we saying? Why are we taking these 2 shemus? Like Ani v'hoy Hashiana. What does it mean? So Rashi says. So Tosfos says, no, these are the 2 shemus of Shchinta B'Galusa, because you said there's a passage that says the Ani b'Seich HaGoyla. Hakadosh Baruch Hu says I go with Klal Yisrael into Golus, v'ani b'Seich HaGoyla, and there's another passage that says v'hu asur b'zikin, and that's in reference to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, and that he was tied up in chains. Kilu, that when Klal Yisrael goes into Golus, the Eibishter Alein is Kilu Kaviyachol tied up in chains, because Shchinta B'Galusa, he comes with us into Golus. V'anochi Eid Mitzrayim, v'anochi Eichel Yamalei, I go with you into Mitzrayim. So the high is v'hu asur b'zikim, so that's the v'har. So when we're saying Ani v'hoy Hashiana, what we're saying is Hashem should save himself. That means Kilu, that Hashem should take his Shechina out of Golus, because he went into Golus with us. Ani v'hoy Hashiana. And when we go out, he'll come out also. But Ani v'hoy Hashiana, we say Hashem should take his. That's the Tosfos of an art. Grada, if you look in the Tfilas Kol Pesida, that used to be very common. Tfilas Kol Pesida, you can't find it anymore, right? What? The Tfilas Kol Pesida says that Ani v'hoy Hashiana, he says that the Nekudas are wrong, and you should say Ani v'hu Hashiana. Days, hey, with a valve with a top in the middle, not on the top, Ani v'hu, because it comes v'hu asur b'zikim. You know, saying this Tosfos. Anyways, so okay, so that's Tosfos. That Ani v'hu Hashiana means Hakadosh. Grada, if you look at when we send it Haishanis, it's quite clear. It says Kaishata Elim Bedud, and the Kaishata. It says Nok v'hotzeisi eschem Nokod v'hotzeisi itchem. Right? I will take you out, and the Nekudas of v'hotzeisi itchem, I will go out with you, because Shchita B'Galusa, that's the whole Ani v'Hashiana. That means Hashem should bring himself out of Galus. So now, here's my speculation. My speculation is that why are these the shemus of Hashem? Why are these the shemus of Shchita B'Galusa? Ani v'hu Hashiana. Like why are these the shemus? So here's my thought. There's the Michtav Eliyahu, and the Michtav Eliyahu talks about like when you this whole idea of Shchita B'Galusa, it means that the Shechina, when Klal Yisrael goes into Golus, the Shechina comes into Golus. So you know there's a nusach that we say before we do mitzvahs, Baruch Sha'amar, L'shem Yichud Kush B'Chush Shchintay, right? L'shem Yichud Kush B'Chush Shchintay means to unify. Now, if you translate the words, it sounds like you're saying Kfira. L'shem Yichud Kush B'Chush means to unify the Kush B'Chush together with the Shechina. That means it sounds like a duality. Chas v'shalom. It sounds like there's 2 things: there's Kush B'Chush and Shechintah, and we're making a Yichud to Kush B'Chush Shchintay. And I'm not the first one to say this. There's a Neuberger. The Neuberger says that Tzadikim, he says, Tzadikim Yalchubam, V'chasidim Yikashlu Bam. That's him. Not a portion of Kosh Labam. He said the Hasidim. He's making a criticism of the Hasidim. He said Tzaddikim the Hasidim Kosh Labam because you can be Kosh in the tears. Because if you don't know what you're saying what? There's a duality. Tzaddikim. You know what you're saying? He says, of course it means something, but if you don't know what you're saying, you'll be Kosh in the tears. And he says, you have to have achanas before you do mitzvah. The achanas should be the bracha. When you mecham by the bracha, that'll be your achanas. Good. But Lamaisa, what does it mean? I mean, Lamaisa, it comes from the Zohar, and Neuberger's not saying that it's not true. He's just trying to say, if you know what you're saying, you have to be careful about it. So what's the matter? So Michtam says like this. He says that it states in Tanya, but Michtam can say the quote's Tanya, by the way, that it states in Tanya that right, but he's very busy with Tanya. Anyways, he's like this, that when we talk about Tzimtzum, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu constricts himself and so forth, it only means on our perception of the Welt, not in the Welt onto itself. That means really the whole world is Hu Ritzoni Echad, like the Rambam says, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted the Bria, and it's the Ratzon HaBria, and Hu Ritzoni Echad. So it's all misach with the Bria. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Memali Kol Am, the Lashon of the Zohar. His essence fills the whole world. So why don't we see him? We should look around and we just see the Eibishter wherever we turn. The teretz is that if we would have such vision and we would see Ha'uver Tiny Echad and HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ma'alek Halamin, that we have no Bechir, we'd be nothing, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu did us a favor. And he made a Tzimtzum that we can't see it. But the Tzimtzum is only klapai our perspective. That's what the Tanya talks about. It's not Be'etzim. It's only klapai the way we see the world. We don't see the world the way it really is. It's really one big chesed of Hu Ritzoni Echad. We don't see it that way. We see it, it's a distortion. It's a distortion of, right. But Ba'etzem, it's all one. Says the Michtam Elio. He says like this, Kodesh Baruch Hu is the gather of what the world really is. The world really is Hu Ritzoni Echad, it's all the Eibishter, it's everything is him. Everything is him. But Shechina is how much it rests by us in our consciousness. That's a lot less, right? We don't see it to that degree. When you're doing a mitzvah, you're doing l'shem yichud Kodesh Baruch Hu Shechina. That means that the perception should catch up to the reality. That how much he's shaken by us should be consistent with how much it really is. L'shem yichud Kodesh Baruch Hu Shechina. That the Kodesh Baruch Hu, which is the real way, it should be consistent with the reality. Shechina, how much you rest for should be right. And also always going to be like that. Also always going to be, and that's like the ultimate yichud. The ultimate yichud is when you realize that everything is part of the Eibush. Everything, and that's why it's Yom Shem Chayfetz. Eventually, there'll be such a gil Shechina that you can't choose the other way around. It's all Eibush. It's there's no other choice. So it's like this. So I think maybe. I'm not dashing that long. I'm not finishing until every single piece of meat is finished. So it's like this. So maybe this is a total speculation, but maybe the word anivahu means ich and em. It points to a duality. Anivahu, there's a me and there's a him. Anivahu. If a Zoyvat is anivahu, there is a separation between Kodesh Baruch Hu and Shechina. But listen to this. Zekeli ve'anveyu. And the Gemara in Shabbos says that vanveyu is a construction of anivahu. Ma'anichanon, avatochanon, anivahu. And it's a weird Gemara. The Gemara says anivahu, zekeli vanveyu, anivahu, ma'anichanon, avatochanon. What? Vahu. Where's the vahu? It should be v'atoh. As you v'atoh. Why does the drasha work? Elamai vahu means it's referring to the Shechina. It is ani HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vahu in the Shechina, how much it's related, how much it links by us. Because that the get of Shechina is how much we perceive him, how much we reflect him. That's why Shechina Begalusa, when we go into Golus, so the Shechina that's linking by us goes into Golus also. Good. And when you have a Zekeli, when a Shivcha Al Yam could point out Kodesh Baruch Hu and say, this is the biggest Gil Shechina ever, so then the Anivahu merge. Maybe that's down in the pasuk that says, Ru'u Atah, Ki Ani Anihu. read the Pasuk Hazinu says, we should realize that there's no real two things. Kaneh and Hu. There's only one thing. Well, the Kaneh and Hu. In any case. So it's like this. Well, we know that, going back to Amalek. So again, what we're trying to explain is that why is it that when Amalek's in the Welt, you could have a Shechina, but you can have a Mishkan, but you can't have a Beis Hamikdash, right? So maybe you say like this. We know that the effect of Amalek was that he made a period between Yichud Shechina. It's not me. It's a very Kiyad al Keis Kah. That means if I say right, there's a Amalek in the Welt, then there's only and Hashem Shalom Akisa Shalom, right? Yeah, L'Yachid Shem Yudkei B'Vavkei. That's the Yemuchad Kishabrichol Yudkei B'Vavkei. Somehow Kishabrichol Shchinte. And the idea is this: Rashi says that right after Yetzias Mitzrayim, Hasinai, there was Azak, unbelievable Gil L'Shchina. The whole Welt was chastening about from the Eibishter's existence. It was like totally known. And there was this hot bubbling bath of Yiras Shamayim. And what does Amalek do? Amalek is the people that say, the heck with it, and they jump into it. Right? They jump to the bath and they cool off the bath. What does that cool off the bath, Rashi says? What it means is, they're cooling off that tremendous Hakar of Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's what it means they made a pure Kodesh Baruch Hu Zintrei. That the perception of the Eibishter that was so overwhelming until Amalek comes around, they said, the heck with it, they cooled it off. So, they made a pure Kodesh Baruch Hu Zintrei. If a Zoyvet is an Amalek in the Welt, you can have a Mishkan and not a Mikdash, because it seems pretty clear to me that the word Mishkan is associated to the word Shechina, and the word Mikdash is associated to the word Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? It sounds like it. Mishkan is Shechina, and Kodesh Baruch Hu is Mikdash. If I say right that there's an Amalek in the world, so then there's going to be a period. So episode of Shechina you can have. You can have Shechina Begalusa, you can have Shechina 10 people getting together. There's different levels of Shechina. But you can't have a Beis Hamikdash. So if I say that there's an Amalek in the world, then you can't have a Beis Hamikdash. We need a complete eradication of the Amalek for us to have a Mikdash, a Beis Hamikdash. We should talk about Zoicha, to get rid of Amalek. I just want to say a totally Zaytik. I think a totally Zaytik. I thought it was the main point I want to say. I want to say a Nekuda, that a heritage I think you all will relate to. I had a hard time always when the Parshas was Chis Amalek, Anoshim V'Tav, eradicate the whole people, like a whole nation. Kids, come on, ladies, come on. How could it be? Nobody has that kasha after Gaza. Yeah. Nobody. Now you see Gaza. The heck with them. Every single person from now Noshim V'Tav, the whole culture's sick. And what? Nukamor. I'm telling you, like, you see, the Torah is we have to get the Gaza to get there. But the only way you can have eradication of a real krankheit from diet in the krankheit is Noshim V'Tav. Anyways, we start with Zoicha to real Tachias Amalek, Binyan Beis Hamikdash from here. Amen.